Hello everyone and welcome back to today's episode. In today's video, we'll be discussing motherboards. They are like the backbone to your PC. So if you are trying to build yourself a new rig or you want to upgrade your existing computer system, understanding how motherboards work is key to building a powerful, reliable, and future-proof system. So in this video, we'll be dissecting everything about motherboards, from their components, their uses, and also we'll be guiding you on how to choose the right motherboard for your needs. So let's get started. First things first, what is a motherboard and why is it so important? Think of the motherboard as the central nervous system of your PC. It's the circuit board that connects all the components of your computer, from your CPU, your GPU, your storage devices, and other peripherals, connects them together and allows them to communicate with each other. So without a motherboard, your PC is just a collection of parts. Your motherboard is like the glue that holds all the components together and allows them to work effectively. So in essence, a motherboard, which can be referred to as the main board, the system board, or the logic board, is the primary printed circuit board, or PCB, in a computer. It serves as a central hub that connects and allows communication between all the components of your PC, from your central processing unit to your graphics processing unit, your storage devices, your random access memory, and also other computer peripherals. Without the motherboard, the components of your computer cannot work together. Now let's look at the key functions of a motherboard. The motherboard provides physical and electrical connections for all hardware components. The motherboard distributes electrical power from the power supply unit to the CPU, RAM, and other components. The motherboard facilitates data transfer between components via buses and interfaces. The motherboard contains the firmware that initializes hardware during boot and also provides low-level system control. Having said that, let's look at the key components you will find in the motherboard. Having a clear understanding of these components will help you make the right choice when choosing one. The first component is the CPU socket. This is the socket where your central processing unit or processor is being installed. This socket varies according to CPU brand and CPU generation. So for Intel processors, we have the LGA 1700 socket, and for AMD, we have the AMD AM5 socket. Next is the RAM slot. These are the slots where you install your random access memory. Most motherboards support 2 to 4 RAM slots, depending on their configuration. This configuration could either be single, dual, or quad channel configuration. Then we have expansion slots. These expansion slots could either be in form of PCIe slots or M.2 slots. PCIe slots are for GPUs, SSDs, or other expansion cards, and they vary in size, which could either be by 1 or by 4 or by 8 or by 16, and they also vary in terms of generation. So you could see a PCIe Gen 4.0 slot or a PCIe Gen 5.0 slot. Then we have chipset. This acts as the communication center or traffic controller for the motherboard. It determines features like the number of USB ports, number of PCIe lanes, and number of SATA ports. Examples of chipsets are the Intel Z790 and the AMD X670. Next we have is the storage connectors. This could either be SATA ports for connecting your SATA SSDs and HDDs, or M.2 slots for connecting your NVMe SSDs. Next we have power connectors. Under this we have the 24-pin ATX power connector port. This supplies power directly from your power supply unit to your motherboard. Then we have the 8-pin CPU power connector. This supplies power directly to your CPU. Next is the I/O ports, or I/O could mean input and output ports. This is located at the rear end of your motherboard. Here you have your USB ports, which could vary in terms of speed and generation. So usually we have USB type A ports and USB type C ports. For the USB type A ports, they should at least support USB 3.2 speeds upwards. For the type C, they should at least support USB 4.0. Then we have HDMI or display ports. These are for motherboards that support integrated graphics cards. Then we have audio jacks for speakers speakers, and microphone inputs. Then we have Wi-Fi antenna connectors. These are for motherboards that have built-in Wi-Fi. Then we have the BIOS or UEFI chip. This contains the firmware that initializes the hardware during boot and provides low-level system configuration. Next, we have the VRM or voltage regulator module. This regulates and supplies power to the CPU. High-quality VRMs are essential for stable performance, especially during overclocking. Then we have cooling headers. These are for connecting case fans, CPU coolers, and liquid cooling pumps. Last, we have the CMOS battery or CMOS battery. This is a small battery that powers the BIOS or UEFI firmware to help retain system settings like date, time, and boot order when the computer is powered off. So having looked at the various components, let's talk about the various types of motherboards we have. Motherboards come in various sizes and form factors. An example is the ATX motherboard. This is the standard size for desktop computers and it comes in 12 by 9.6 inches. Next, we have the micro ATX motherboard, which comes in 9.6 by 9.6 inches. Next, we have the mini ATX motherboards, which are used in building small form factor computers. The motherboard size comes in 6.7 by 6.7 inches. Then we have the eATX or extended ATX motherboards. These are larger motherboard sizes that are used for professional workstations. So now you know the types of motherboards we have and the components of these motherboards. Now let's look at the features you need to consider before choosing the right motherboard that fits your needs. First, let's look at compatibility. Ensure that the CPU socket matches your CPU. For current motherboards, we have LGA 1700. That's a CPU socket for the Intel branded CPUs. And that socket supports the 12th generation and the 13th generation CPUs. Another CPU socket we have is the AMD AM5 socket. That socket, as the name implies, is meant for AMD branded CPUs and it supports the Ryzen 7000 series set of processors. Next, we check the RAM type. We have DDR4 and DDR5. So you check what generation of RAM your motherboard supports. Next is the form factor. Are you going for the ATX, micro ATX, the mini ITX, or eATX? These form factors don't fit into the same PC case. Next is the expansion slots. Consider PCIe slots for GPUs, SSDs, and other expansion cards. Consider M.2 slots for NVMe SSDs, and also consider USB ports for USB 3.2, USB 4.0, or USB Type-C. Next is the chipset. This determines features like overclocking support, number of PCIe lanes, and connectivity options. Examples of chipsets are the Intel Z790, which is the high end. We have the B760, which is the mid-range, and the H770, which is for budget builds. For the AMD side, we have the X670, which is for the high end, the B650, which is mid-range, and the A620, which is for budget. Next is connectivity. Consider Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connections. Does it have built-in wireless connectivity? You look at the Ethernet. Does it support gigabit or Ethernet for wired networking? And also you consider the audio. Does it have high quality audio codecs for better sound? Another feature to look at is overclocking support. Look at the VRM or the voltage regulator module. This is what powers your CPU. So a robust VRM is crucial for overclocking and high performance build. Also, high-end motherboards like the Intel Z series or AMD X series support overclocking for CPUs and RAM. Next is aesthetics. So if you love RGB or system lighting, be sure to pick a motherboard with sleek designs and color schemes for visually appealing builds. So now let's look at the popular brands of motherboards we have. So we have ASUS, we have Gigabyte, we have MSI, we have ASRock, and we have EVGA. So now let's look at how to choose the right motherboard for your needs. of factors to consider while choosing the right motherboard. First of all, you determine your needs. Are you building a rig for gaming or productivity or general use? Do you need overclocking support or Wi-Fi? Second, you check your compatibility. Ensure your motherboard supports your CPU, RAM, and GPU. And also consider future upgrades. So choose a motherboard with extra PCIe slots, M.2 slots, and RAM capacity for future expansion. And lastly, set a budget. High-end motherboards offer more features but are more expensive. Let's look at installation tips for your motherboard. How do you install your motherboard? First, I would suggest you read the manual. Each motherboard has specific installation instructions. It's very important that you read the manual. Secondly, you install the I/O shield. You place the I/O shield in the case first of all before installing the motherboard. Secure the motherboard with standoffs that are provided to prevent the motherboard from touching the case. Then you connect cables. Attach power, data, and front panel connectors carefully. After installing your motherboard and connecting all your components, most times or sometimes there are issues that may come up. One of them is no power. If you put on your power switch and you notice there's no power coming to the motherboard, you check your power connections and ensure the power supply unit is functioning. If you notice no display, you verify that your GPU and your RAM are properly seated or fixed. And lastly, you may encounter BIOS or UEFI errors. Update your firmware to the latest version. So in summary, the motherboard is the backbone of your computer, connecting and enabling communication between all components of your system. Choosing the right motherboard is very essential for building a stable, high-performance system tailored to your needs. Now it's your turn. Let me know in the comment section below. What motherboard do you use? Are you Team ATX, Team Micro ATX, Mini ITX, or EATX? Are you thinking of upgrading? What features are you looking out for? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's a wrap. You are now equipped with everything you need to know about a motherboard. If you found this video helpful, kindly give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tips and tutorials like this. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.